Hey everyone, and a massive, heartfelt welcome to the English with Samuel podcast. I'm Samuel, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you join me for this very first episode. This podcast is truly a passion project, meticulously designed with one core purpose: to empower English learners like you to dramatically enhance your listening comprehension. I know firsthand the challenges and triumphs of language learning, and my goal here is to create a resource that bridges the gap between frustration and fluency. If you often find yourself struggling to keep up with native English speakers at their natural speed, or if you're past the beginner phase but not quite ready for advanced, unadapted content, then let me assure you, you've landed in precisely the right place. This isn't just another language lesson. It's a dedicated space crafted to meet your unique needs. Today, in this foundational introductory episode, I want to unpack several crucial elements that will set the stage for your learning journey with us. We're going to delve deep into the mechanics of this podcast, its innovative format, its flexible structure, and most importantly, I'll walk you through a comprehensive guide on how to leverage every single episode to maximize your listening improvement. Beyond the logistics, I'll also share a little bit about my own linguistic adventure, giving you a glimpse into who I am, Samuel, and why I'm so passionate about helping you. So, without further ado, let's embark on this exciting linguistic journey together. Let's dive in and unlock the potential of your English listening. First off, let's really get into the nitty-gritty of the podcast's format and what you can expect in terms of content and schedule. My firm plan, which I'm genuinely excited about, is to consistently release brand new episodes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This means you'll have a steady stream of fresh, engaging content 3 times a week, ensuring that you have an abundance of high-quality listening material to integrate into your routine. This consistent rhythm is designed to build momentum in your learning, making English practice a regular, anticipated part of your week. Each episode is carefully crafted to be around 25 minutes in length, while some might occasionally run a little shorter if the topic is concise, and others might extend a bit longer if we're exploring a particularly fascinating subject. You can always count on a substantial chunk of listening practice. This duration is intentional. It's long enough to provide meaningful exposure and develop your sustained attention, yet manageable enough to fit into even the busiest schedules. My aim is to make quality English listening accessible, not an additional burden. Now, let's talk about the heart of the podcast, the topics themselves. In every single episode, I'll be diving into 2 or 3 distinct topics, ensuring variety, relevance, and interest. For instance, in one episode, we might take a conversational stroll through the fascinating world of global travel and diverse culinary experiences, sharing stories and insights. In another, we could shift gears completely to discuss the intricacies of modern car technology or delve into practical, everyday routine topics that resonate with your daily life. The truth is, I'm planning to talk about just about everything under the sun. My philosophy is that the more diverse the subjects, the richer your vocabulary development will be, and the more adaptable your listening skills will become. My genuine hope is that these varied topics will not only keep you thoroughly engaged, but also serve as an excellent, well-rounded resource for expanding your general knowledge while simultaneously honing your English. You'll quickly notice a distinctive characteristic of my speaking style. I commit to speaking exceptionally clearly. You're hearing a prime example of that clarity right now in this very introduction. My voice is modulated, my enunciation is precise, and my delivery is designed to be easily digestible. Far easier, in fact, than the rapid-fire speech you might encounter from many native speakers in casual, unscripted conversations. I'll also be speaking at a pace that is just a little bit slower than my normal conversational speed with other native English speakers. This isn't an unnatural or artificially slowed pace, rather it's a thoughtfully calibrated speed that makes it easier for you to process the language without feeling overwhelmed, allowing your brain more time to comprehend and absorb. It's a subtle adjustment that makes a world of difference for learners. Beyond the spoken word, a truly transformative aspect of this podcast is the invaluable inclusion of a full, accurate transcript for every single episode. This isn't just a helpful add-on, it's a fundamental pillar of our learning approach. The transcript is your ultimate tool for deciphering every single word, phrase, and nuance you might initially miss. Think of it as your personal key to unlocking comprehension. Perhaps right now, as you listen to my voice, you're understanding a good portion of what I'm saying, maybe 70% or 80%, but there are still those pesky gaps, a word here, a phrase there that just escapes you. The transcript is specifically designed to fill in those very gaps, providing absolute clarity. Now, it's important to be transparent. These transcripts are initially auto-generated. While I commit to reviewing and editing them to the best of my ability before each upload, I must confess, being a human with limited time, I might not catch every single tiny error. However, rest assured, any mistakes will be minor and infrequent, and the transcript will overwhelmingly serve its purpose as an exceptionally potent resource to accompany your listening practice. It will undoubtedly be a game changer for your learning journey. So let's pivot to the crucial question. Who is this podcast truly for, and how can you best utilize it? This podcast is ideally suited for individuals with an English level of lower intermediate to upper beginning or even intermediate. To put it in terms of the common European framework of reference for languages, if you're at an A2 level or a B1 level of English, this podcast is absolutely tailor-made for you. It will provide the perfect environment for you to practice, consolidate, and expand your listening capabilities. However, even if you possess a higher level, say B2 or beyond, this podcast remains a valuable asset. Why? Because I will inevitably use a rich tapestry of vocabulary and idiomatic expressions that might be new to you. So even if you grasp 95% of what I'm saying, the sheer volume of new words and phrases you'll encounter will still make this podcast an excellent vocabulary building tool. On the flip side, if you're at an A1 level, a true beginner, this podcast might initially feel a bit challenging. My speaking speed, while slower than typical native pace, is not very slow. I use natural everyday vocabulary that I'd use with other native speakers. So if you're at a very low A2 or A1 level, you might find it tough. But here's the silver lining. If you're driven, if you possess that strong motivation to truly engage with this podcast, you can absolutely make it work, especially with the transcript as your guide. Reading through the transcript, looking up every new word and phrase, and then re-listening will prove incredibly beneficial. The core audience, though, is for those who can understand slightly artificial, scripted English lessons with ease, but who find authentic, real-speed native speech overwhelming. If that describes your current situation, then congratulations, this podcast is your perfect transitionary bridge. The fundamental reason I embarked on creating this podcast and why I'm so deeply committed to it is to assist students in smoothly transitioning from those often artificial, heavily scripted beginner listening practice videos to genuinely authentic English content. You know the drill. Many online or paid programs offer listening lessons that are so simplified, so unnatural, that while they build basic confidence, they don't truly prepare you for the real world of English conversation. You might find American podcasts made for native speakers too fast, too dense, too challenging. This podcast is designed to be that crucial stepping stone, that vital intermediary phase. I am speaking without a pre-written script, truly spontaneously. Right now, I'm not reading words off a page. I'm generating them in real time. This means you're hearing me, Samuel, speaking in a natural, conversational way, albeit slightly slower and clearer. The vocabulary, the sentence structures, the expressions I use are all authentic to my everyday speech. This unscripted approach is precisely what makes this podcast so immensely useful. If I were to write a script and read it,
you wouldn't be hearing authentic speech, you'd be hearing a performance. But by delivering these podcasts spontaneously, you gain exposure to what genuine, natural English sounds like, but in a format that's accessible and digestible. This is the exact kind of audio I always sought out when learning other languages, a native speaker communicating naturally, but with enhanced clarity and a slightly reduced speed. It was, and still is, my go-to method for improving my listening in other languages. I truly believe this will be a powerful tool for your own linguistic development. While it's primarily for learners not yet ready for unadapted, real-speed content, if you have a very high level and simply enjoy listening to authentic English, you are, of course, most welcome here.
Now, let's explore the practical methodologies for maximizing your learning with this podcast. In terms of how to use it most effectively, I propose two highly beneficial approaches: active listening and passive listening. Each method offers unique advantages, and ideally, you'll be able to integrate both into your weekly routine. When I refer to active listening, I envision a focused, deliberate engagement with the material. This means you allocate specific time, find a quiet environment, don your headphones, open up the accompanying transcript on your device, and dedicate your full, undivided attention to the podcast. In this mode, you're not multitasking. You are singularly focused on processing the language, absorbing every sound, every word, every phrase. This deep immersion is incredibly powerful for developing precise comprehension, for pinpointing new vocabulary, and for understanding the nuances of spoken English. It's the equivalent of a concentrated study session, and it yields fantastic results for accelerating your progress. If you can consistently make time for active listening, even for shorter bursts, you will undoubtedly see significant improvements. Then there's passive listening, a remarkably versatile and often underestimated technique, especially for busy individuals. Passive listening comes into play when you don't have the luxury of dedicated, uninterrupted study time, but you still want to immerse yourself in English. What does this look like in practice? Imagine you're driving to work, washing the dishes after dinner, tidying up the house, exercising at the gym, or simply taking a leisurely walk. These are all activities where your body is engaged, but your brain is relatively free and receptive. During these times, you can simply put on the podcast and let the English wash over you. Of course, you won't be 100% focused on every single word. Your attention will naturally drift. However, even with partial focus, your brain is still absorbing a tremendous amount of information. You're getting accustomed to the rhythm and intonation of English, new vocabulary is entering your subconscious, and your overall listening apparatus is being continuously trained. You'll be surprised at how much you pick up passively over time. The beauty of this podcast is that it lends itself perfectly to both active and passive consumption. You likely have opportunities throughout your day or week to engage in both, optimizing your learning without feeling overwhelmed. Let's delve deeper into the strategic use of the transcript, a truly indispensable companion to the audio. You might be wondering, how exactly should I integrate this transcript into my listening practice? Let me share with you my personal methodology, which I've refined over years of learning various languages. When I have access to a transcript for an audio, my first step is always to read the transcript in its entirety before I even listen to the audio. As I read, I meticulously identify and look up any new words, unfamiliar phrases, or grammatical structures that I don't recognize. This pre-reading primes my brain, introducing the vocabulary and context beforehand. Then, after this initial reading and vocabulary acquisition, I listen to the audio while simultaneously following along with the transcript. This dual input, auditory and visual, significantly enhances comprehension and retention. However, I also adapt this approach based on the difficulty of the material.
If the audio is at a comfortable level for me, if it's not overly challenging, or if the subject matter is already quite familiar, then sometimes I'll choose to listen to the podcast for the very first time without the transcript. I simply listen, trying to grasp as much as I can, and then I use the transcript on subsequent listens to check my understanding and fill in any gaps. Your current English level will be your best guide here. If you're at a higher level, like B1 or B2, you might find it beneficial to try listening without the transcript first, challenging yourself to infer meaning. Conversely, if you're at a lower level, say A2, starting directly with the transcript will likely be more effective and less frustrating.
Regardless of your initial approach, whether you read the transcript first, listen without it, or follow my personal method, there is one overarching recommendation that I consider absolutely vital for profound learning: repetition. I cannot stress this enough. This is my secret weapon when practicing listening in any language. I make it a point to listen to the same podcast episode multiple times. I'm talking 3, 4, 5, even 10 times, sometimes more. And there's a powerful cognitive reason behind this. When you repeatedly engage with the same audio, when you read something again and again, something truly magical happens in your brain. Your mind begins to organically acquire new vocabulary, new idiomatic phrases, and even complex grammatical structures. It happens almost subconsciously. You might not even realize the learning is occurring, but it is. Through this consistent repetition in my own listening practice, I've come to a profound realization. I no longer need to painstakingly write down lists of new vocabulary words. In the past, I always did that. My notebooks were filled with endless lists. But now, with this repetition technique, I remember all the new vocabulary, all the new phrases, as long as I repeatedly engage with the same audio. My brain simply captures it. So, my strongest recommendation to you is to listen to each episode multiple times. You can mix and match, listen with the transcript, then without it. My preferred method is to first read the entire transcript, then listen with the transcript a couple of times, and finally, listen without the transcript a couple more times. This sequential exposure, building from visual recognition to pure auditory comprehension, has been incredibly effective for me. Now, you might be thinking, wow, isn't it going to get a little bit boring listening to the same material over and over? And I completely understand that concern. I hear you. My commitment to you is to consistently seek out and discuss intriguing, relevant, and diverse topics that will capture your interest and make even repeated listens engaging. I'll focus on everyday, contemporary subjects, but I'm also open to exploring different kinds of topics. My sincere hope is that you'll genuinely enjoy the themes I choose. And here's an extra tick. You can always request new topics if there's a specific subject you're burning to hear me talk about. Your input is valuable and helps shape the content. Well, friends, we've reached the end of our very first episode here on the Samu English Podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this introductory journey with you, and I'm genuinely excited about all the learning we'll do together. Thank you for giving me your time and your ears today. My greatest wish is that you feel motivated and equipped to truly dive into improving your English listening. Keep an eye out for episode 2, where we'll delve into, mention a hint about the next topic, like some fascinating cultural insights or more essential everyday vocabulary. Until then, take care, practice diligently, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.